Okay, so if I'm to understand where you are going at with what's the problem is.
Because I could tell you that, say, one of my pet peeves is sanitation. I can sit
There's
and
a
tell
heart of
you,
a problem
Ghana
which is
was
bigger than
founded
specific
on
issues.
ideas. I mean, I am not xenophobic, but I do think that the founding of Ghana and the ideas it came up with is one of the greatest. I look at our coat of arms and I think we have the best coat of arms in the entire world, though, Mashe. Our flag and the ideas. If you look at the words, the most commonly repeated words across our pledge, our national anthem, the coat of arms, it's freedom. We are a people meant to be giving ourselves ever expanding freedom and ever deepening justice.
So here is a democracy which, according to you, is not delivering what it must because it's situated in a system that is wrong.
Yes, okay. I don't want you to take aim at the democracy because that will, you see, every time we say the democracy is not working for us, then we are also letting ourselves off the hook for addressing the issue in the system. The issue is not the democracy. The issue is how we are allowing
the system
to function.
Okay. Let me take Justice's thoughts on this one. Now, of course, when it comes to governance and how this country is run, Justice is well read in the subject. Would you agree with these thoughts?
Very much so, Daniel. You see, social problems are a function of the tension between self-interest and public interest. What this means is that when you have a lot of people looking towards or moving towards the self-interest aspect of the spectrum and away from the public interest, then you have a lot more social problems, happening. Take, for example, why would someone kidnap someone and ask for a ransom? Why would someone, use their office, public office, to steal money for themselves? These are all things that happen regularly in this country. And I think at this point, we have reached almost the height in a very long time, insecurity and safety. It tells you one thing, that people are becoming or are moving more and more towards the self-interest aspect of the spectrum rather than the public interest. Now, why is this happening? That is where Kina was driving. Why do we have this challenge? Now, Du Bois once said that you don't need 100% of the population to be, to be smart or to be talented or to be good to move forward. And if you look across history, all the great empires and all the great kingdoms, it's not all the citizens that were talented. You just need about 10%. And Du Bois said the talented 10th. Those are the people who lead the society to get to where they are going or to get to where everyone wants to go. What do we have here as a 10th leading us? And that is the question we need to look at. Do we have people or our leaders as people who aim at moving from the private interest or personal interest to the public interest? Can you answer that question? So, anytime there's a problem, just look at it. So there's someone who's supposed to be responsible for this particular aspect of the society. Now there is a problem there. The person who is leading, could he have done better? If he's not doing better, why is he not doing better? Is he public-oriented person or private interest-oriented person? And almost all the time, when I do this analysis, it's easy, no-brainer. Conclusion is private interest.
Someone is just working for himself and not the country.
And that leads us to the value system. You see, values are not things that we just use words, how do we call it? We don't pay lip service to values. Values are things that we live. You must live it, must show in everything. And in fact, it must be publicly displayed. If you claim you have a value, the value must be publicly displayed. It's not something that you just hide in your room and say. So take, for example, every day we talk of Ghanaians we like the truth, we like freedom, we are against corruption. Almost everyone will say we are against corruption. But whenever someone is fingered in corruption, something, do you see people actually standing up publicly, calling that person to account and insisting that the person be dealt with? What do we see? We see people, pastors will come and beg, relatives will come and beg, chiefs are begging, and then the same chiefs will stand somewhere and say, we are fighting corruption. We are against corruption. But when you get anyone, and that's the difference between our system and elsewhere, those that we desire, those countries that we aspire to be. When someone does something wrong, okay, fine. The worst you can see is everyone will step aside and let the system, take its course. But Ghana here, when someone does something wrong, we go and then we show solidarity. You know why? Because I don't know when mine will come. And when mine comes, I expect someone to stand up for me.
You see, this is where my challenge is. So I'm coming back to Kina. Which part of the system? Because justice here describes a talented 10th, which is not delivering, and then the 90%, which is not holding the 10% accountable. So if we want to begin to fix, where do we start?
Well, when you are in dysfunction, your talented 10th are actually working against the 90%. So I appreciate it's a Du Bois thing, right?
Yeah.
So this is what the dysfunction is. He talked about pastors and look, if you have systemic dysfunction in a country, therefore then one of your biggest problems are the rulers, the political party system. But I'm going to sit here today and say religion in Ghana today contributes to the dysfunction. I'm saying that on record. Religion is contributing to the dysfunction.
How so?
Because if where Ghanaians go to get, where we congregate, if when you go to church, your pastors are not letting you know about the dysfunction, prayer isn't going to solve our problem. It's not going to solve our problem. Like, then God shouldn't have given us all these brains and will. But if you go, in the 1960s, I always say this, the Bible, and I can only comment on the Bible, is a text that can be interpreted any which way. It can be used for civil rights movements. Mm-hmm. So if you are, so we should ask as it was. So if we are in dysfunction, and look at the suffering in this country, and we do not have civil rights reverence, and then religion is being used against the people. And it is being used against the people because you see, it's also in the language. Let's pray for our leaders. Shoot, why? The problem is not you can pray for your leaders all you want. It is a systemic dysfunction. I've been given here a note. Somebody has written that, Ghana's ambassador to South Africa, A.C. Watson, said he will attend to MPP first before anyone else. Or for example, for last week said NDC supporters, only those who campaign will benefit if the party wins. The problem with these statements is that those very same supporters are Ghanaians. So, I always tell party people that after your party has won, what do you do next? Do you just sit back for the next one? You see, because the issue is that every single system that should empower us to seek greater freedoms, to develop. I talk about freedom a lot, but let's say what I'm talking about is development, things that let people lead much easier lives, which we can do. If all of those systems are not enabling data, then they are working against you. It's very simple. There is no gray area. So we have a talented 10th. If indeed we have a talented 10th, we are now all part of the dysfunction. And I'm not talking, and I like what he said about values, right? We should even be struggling towards our values. Every day we should, because values are not something. Am I justice? Yeah, it's a practice. Every day you get up, you brush your teeth. You don't say that yesterday I brushed my teeth, so
my teeth.
Every day it's a practice, and some days you fail at it, and some days you do well at it, until it becomes. And it's something that you do. You're always struggling against it. You see what I mean? It's not like you are going to say, "I'm a person of integrity, so I must stop practicing integrity." But if what Justice said about values, we should be struggling.
Okay.
Towards those things.
Okay. Let me hold you on for that moment and come to Dr. Lloyd Amwa. Okay, she's enjoying some tea right now anyway. So I'll go to Dr. Lloyd Amwa, who has joined us on the phone today. Good morning, Doc.
Hey, good morning, Chief. How's it going?
By God's grace. Yourself?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I don't know if Kina will put me as part of the religious class that are hurting Ghana.
That was a brilliant point.
Something. I do not say this. You see, I am also while I'm not not religious, I am also part of what I say is that we are all in dysfunction. I'm saying this so that we can actually begin to interrogate the systems that underpin our lives and move it in a direction that serves us.
This is actually what I want us to do in the next 10 minutes or so, whilst we deal with some of Kine's issues. We can still call them pet peeves and problems that require solutions if you want to put them in that model. But Doc, so we started a lively conversation about a system of governance, if I can say that, or nation building, which is not working for us. In the first place, would you agree that our democracy, our election, our political class, everything is situated in an environment that is not working?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's about the environment that is not working. I would place it more on leadership that has not been able to more or less have some kind of impact on the environment, because that's what leadership is about. The point of leadership is that it confronts contradictions. It confronts, realities that are out of sync, and attempts in many ways to try and reconfigure these contradictions and set them in a sense on the road towards, you can call it progress, you can call it, I like to say, transformation, national transformation, So the reality of an environment that is problematic has always been with this species we call Homo sapiens. So long as we became conscious of ourselves and began to more or less reflect in a meta way, on the existential crisis that we confronted or faced, then to the extent that collectives, had to find a way to make their lives better. Leadership became more or less critical. So I think that our politicians have not risen to the task in the last, let's say, 30 years with the transformation to democracy, for example, and that is where the problem is. The system that we are running in terms of the organization of power. And with it, what it is that the power must be utilized for, does not seem to be delivering, at least in terms of the speed and in terms of, what it is that the masses of our people need. And the point that the lady made, that was touching, and something that I reflect on almost every day, the suffering of the masses of our people. There's a lot of suffering, over basic things of life. Food, accommodation, transportation. I mean, look at the transportation system that we run, the public transport system that, is run basically, by what you call our trotros. You have people packed in these, cages, literally on wheels, and with no safety really. When a trotro crashes, the fatalities are a given. You understand? Because most of the vehicles are not made to transport human beings.
So, Doc, we'll come to the specifics of some of these issues of transportation in a moment. But you see, when you say it's leadership, and I know you don't mean necessarily that it's leadership alone, but I'm looking at the front page of today's Ghanaian Times, and I'm seeing a story of 40 drivers arrested on the motorway. Now, I'm going to be a talkative for just a minute. In the principle of news, this is a front page because it hardly happens. That's why it's on a front page of a newspaper. Now, if we look at the indiscipline on our roads, for instance, and you admit the fact that leaders are a product of the society, is it just the leaders?
There's no one-to-one mapping, and there shouldn't be when it comes to leadership and the people. So that the argument is problematic that because leaders come from a given society and the society is decrepit morally in terms of virtue, in terms of discipline, then ipso facto, then the leaders therefore will simply reflect the people. This is one of the most difficult arguments I've been pondering over. Now, if that were the case, then no society will transform, because then the complications and the impossibilities are already locked in, But the point about leadership is to go against the grain, to provide direction, to provide ideas and vision, so that those people you came from who are problematic then elevate towards a certain higher level of themselves, and become participants, willing participants in that constant search for a better existence and a better society. And history shows this, and I say this always. I know Asia very well. You read Chinese history, and even European history, Western history, across society. Every time there have been strains for giving society, the leaders come out of those strains and indisciplined. The people are indisciplined. They are indolent. They don't keep time. I mean, Korea, for example, South Korea to be specific. You interact with them. You read. When it came to time, when you told somebody to go to an event at a certain time, let's say 6 o'clock. Back in the day, 40 years ago, that meant getting to their place maybe, in the next 4 days.
Because they were notoriously late.
Yeah, they didn't give a hoot, about punctuality. The Japanese were called, stupid, 50, 60 years ago.
Okay.
So that idea is a cop-out. When you have leadership that begins to say, the people are indisciplined, that's why we are where we are, then they need not be in the place that they are. Because as Marcus Garvey said, leadership is pain, is blood, is death. It's hard, very hard, if you elect to lead the people. It's tough. The point then is that you essentially lose yourself if you want to enact or bring about those transformations that will make your society better. So,
right.
That's the way you have government officials, you have GV cars and the rest of them, people you expect to be leaders who do those kinds of cutting in. I have never done it before, even if I'm late. You understand? But the leaders take these sirens. You have all these big four-wheel drives, usually with government officials, and even if not government officials, well, the people have learned that all you need is a big V8, tinted glasses, sirens blaring, and you can more or less get your way. But if you watch carefully in the traffic, majority of the people are in the traffic, and it's just a few who do what they do.
Doc, I'll hold you on that point. Doc speaks very eloquently on these points very well. So, in the past few minutes, what we've done is that we've brought out the idea that, look, even the way the leaders are selected and the way they govern after that, it's a sitting in a system that is wrong. But we've been using the word system for a long time, and the 90% and the 10%. Okay, so let's take this this road issue, for instance. How does it fit into that?
I find that one of the biggest problems I have when we talk, I'm glad Doc took you on for the people are indisciplined, and so that's
the people are indisciplined, and so of course it's not a one-way situated problem.
I'm glad he debunked that. I hate that argument. People are socialized into systems. In fact, I think that sociology should become some kind of, because Ghanaians, we don't seem to understand systems. So we all understand that when you have a kid, you educate them. And Sebio, nobody says develop your own alphabet. There's an alphabet, there are languages, there are texts, and there's an educational system. We all understand that. Even if you take your child out of the public education system, there's a private education system. People are meant to be in systems that are good and functioning. That's how you get freedom and justice. If your system is bad, you are in dysfunction. Let me use the example of seatbelts. I love the example of seatbelts. About 10 years ago, Ghanaian drivers were not wearing seatbelts. A taxi driver, a tractor driver could actually tell you that, Madam, when I hear the seatbelt crying in an accident, it kills you. There were all sorts of reasons why people were so resistant. And I mean, I do not just mean people who are not functionally literate in English. I mean, those people who don't even push cars, no seatbelts.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I think that maybe the Ghana police did some choche job or something. Now, at least when you look in traffic, you see 30%, 40%, sometimes car after car, even taxi drivers, some trotro drivers have seatbelts.
Okay.
People are meant to be put in systems and then enforcement added to the systems, accountability in the systems.
I'm hearing you take it back to leadership and state agencies.
No, exactly. But leadership is important because that's how you get to your systems.
Okay.
But I've been spending a lot of time thinking on my own about Ghana. And, the leadership issue has been ever since I was little. I grew up in a political household. My mother would be like, we need leadership that is visionary. How many of us haven't heard that? We are still here with this issue. So, number one, it is leadership. But two, we the people, when are we going to assert what we really want?
So it's put
ourselves through the paces where we stick to holding people accountable. Even if it's 10% of the time, we can start small. Because as I am sitting here, I don't know what leader is going to come through this political party system that we have to come and change Ghana.
Is it not the case that we are satisfied with where it is?
Daniel.
Is it not the case that we are satisfied with where it is? No. And
I can talk about Ghanaian elite being satisfied.
No. I'll bring Justice in on this because, Justice, the two political parties get about 90% of the votes every 4 years. Is that not a picture of how, as a people, we are like, okay?
No. Let me tell you something. There's something called collective action problem.
Uh-huh.
You see, when you put people and they don't have leadership, they behave... I mean, they cannot form a common front and achieve anything. That is why you need a leader. I mean, why do you even need a leader if all we are saying is that the people are bad, so let's all go the same direction? Then you don't need a leader because they will keep going that way. The reason why we need a leader is that the people are going somewhere, they can't seem to find their way.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, someone must lead them to where they want to go.
Okay.
If you have a system where the leaders are saying that we are a reflection of the society, so society push us to wherever you want us, then we don't need the leaders. So my point is this. You cannot diagnose a social problem without looking at leadership as the cause and the solution. So MPP, NDC, whoever, no one can tell us, look, the 90% you mentioned that we all vote, and then if you put the two political party votes together, that's about
90% of the voters.
Of the vote. Why do we get that result? We get that result because, you see, the leaders have managed in a way to work into the people the idea that is about resource, grab. So people vote for MPP not because they believe that MPP is going to change the face of Ghana, but because they believe that Nana Addo, when he gets the power, is going to find something and then he will put something in his pocket, as in the individual's pocket. So he's not doing that because someone will change anything about Ghana. If you give them a leadership option, which clearly demonstrates that we will do more public good and create a system where everyone will be free. And here, when I talk of freedom, I talk of development in that sense.
Okay.
Then people will begin to shift. Now we have no real options, as it were. Even though we're
rock in a hard place. I understand it's a lesser evil phenomenon.
Also,
I want to bring Kina, since you are coming in, I want you in a heartbeat because we are running out of time. I want you in a heartbeat to tell us, since we have gotten to where the problem is, what can be done in a heartbeat? Can you tell me what can we do from this studio?
I think that while people say that Ghanaians talk a lot,
yes,
we are not
which we've done for the past.
We are not talking about the right things. We are not we are not having the kinds of conversations that would lead us to have some courage to change.
What does that mean?
It means that we need to be a whole lot more upfront with the political system we are in. There's a PR job that has been done on Ghana, which means that election day is one of the proudest moments in a Ghanaian citizen who can vote live. You go and you vote. And the world tells us we've done a wonderful job. And the turnout is great and blah, blah, blah. We need to take the focus out of elections and put it back on. After we've elected the leader, am I going to get what I'm going to get? And I mean this even in the places that are banks. After you voted for your tradition, what are you going to have your tradition do for you?
Okay, so Kinali Kimani there, Justice Shremsai there, Dr. Loyedamwa there. What I will do is that I'll take what Kina said and translate it into what we must do going forward. Tell your member of parliament to set up an office in his constituency so that you can ask him which laws he's going to set up, so that you can tell him exactly what you want him to say for you in parliament. How about that? How about that?
That doesn't solve.
One thing can solve anything.
I understand, but you see, the reality of the matter is
30 seconds. Just
we talk of democracy. We've been doing this talking for a very long time. All the MPs know exactly what to do. The people know exactly what they want the MP. So there's no confusion as to what must be done. The question is, who is ready to do it against all the odds? I think that is where the question is. We don't seem to have those people. So we can give all the suggestions, we can argue, and you do a lot of work here. And I think if an MP listens to you alone, just you'll be able to do a great deal of things. But no one does it because the system, as Kina will put it, the system is such that delivering has become a challenge because we the leaders don't even see the need to even struggle in the first place. So it's all about doing things the way we've always done it. Take for example, and we use
Justice. Justice. So with this, you are going into. I know you are going into your pet peeve, and so I want us to take the JBM and then take a few messages and come back and give Justice the time to start. I promise you, what Justice is going into is where he wanted to go into. So I'll give him the time to start so that he sets us off well, and then we'll wrap up with Dr. Loyedamwa. But in the past 30 or so minutes, we've been talking about the system in which we exist as a people, how we select the people who vote for us, how we demand for the change that we want, and what must be done if we want to see something different. Justice will take us into the next leg of the conversation when we come back right after this.
Welcome to the Joy Business Minute.
It's Daryl and Karen.
Deputy Transport Minister Titus Glover has assured that controversy surrounding the Tema Port expansion project, which is being executed by the Meridian Port Services, will be dealt with. Tensions have heightened over the operationalization of the new terminal facility, which is expected to go live soon.
Cocoa Board has started engaging several banks outside the country to possibly secure some $1.5 billion in loan. The funds are expected to help the board finance purchases of cocoa beans for the 2019-2020 crop season.
The government or the private sector may have to find $350 million to complete some 181 projects under the government's One District One Factory program. According to Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Robert Ankalinse, these projects are at various stages of completion.
Heathrow Airport will construct a third runway by 2026 and complete its expansion by 2050 according to its master plan published on Tuesday. The plan includes diverting rivers, moving roads and rerouting the M25.
Our next update is at 3:06.
Catch you.
Good morning, NDK. My name is Aram. I am a university student. I managed to save some money from a small business I am doing on campus, selling shutters to my mates, and I want to invest it. What should I look out for before investing my funds in a financial institution?
Good morning, Aram. My name is Roslyn. The first thing you should look out for before investing with a financial institution is to check whether it is regulated by the Bank of Ghana or the Securities and Exchange Commission, and whether the company is in good standing with the regulator. You should also check how long the institution has been in business and its financial performance over time. Knowledge about the institution's track record is equally important. You should also find out about the investment products available, the terms and conditions, as well as the returns and benefits you will gain from investing with that institution. For more information, call NDK's toll-free line 0800 123 123.
Hey, Kwame, what's up here? My brother, my wife has been diagnosed with cancer.
What?
My brother is here with kidney disease too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you know the World Health Organization estimates that over 16,000 new cases of cancers are diagnosed annually in Ghana, and kidney diseases account for 10% of all medical admissions to Korle Bu?
But thanks to Glyco-Critical Illness Plan, GSIP, I have spent over 20,000 Ghana cedis on my younger brother's disease. Yeah. What is GSIP?
Glyco-Critical Illness Plan, GSIP, provides you with financial support when diagnosed with any critical illness or dread disease such as cancers, strokes, kidney failures. Speak to GlycoLife today on 0302-218-500 for your GSIP policy. It is definitely in our interest to survive. GlycoLife, we cushion you for life.
Africa is connecting with China in the grand China Trade Week 2019, happening right here in Accra, Ghana. Come and meet the international exhibitors. The third edition of China Trade Week promises to be the biggest gathering of manufacturing businesses ever in Ghana. Join in the 3 days conference and meet all the high-profile speakers. China Trade Week 2019 is happening at the Accra International Conference Center from the 19th to 21st June, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. And it's absolutely free. Register today at ctwghana.com or call 030-226-0243 for information. China Trade Week 2019, connecting China with Africa.
Raring for Food and Jobs is a program under the auspices of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to modernize and transform agriculture for food, jobs, and foreign exchange through the rearing of livestock such as pigs, cattle, sheep, goats, and poultry, among others. Come join His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, on 24th June 2019 at the Jubilee Park, Wa, Upper West Region, to launch the Raring for Food and Jobs initiative under the theme Self-Sufficiency in Meat Production and Must. Major sponsors, Government of Ghana and Agricultural Development Bank.
Seesaw, up and down. Seesaw, up and down.
Dear Ghana, up and down is good for some things, but your internet is not one of them. It shouldn't go from 4G to 2G like child's play. Get true 4G LTE internet for grown-ups. Grab a Surfline 4G LTE MiFi device today. At Surfline, we give you 10 gigabytes, then add 5 gigabytes of data when you make your first purchase. Call us on 0302-745-777 or visit any of our retail outlets and get the internet you deserve. Yours truly, Surfline. It's about time.
Lamle, where's your husband?
Landlord, he's not back from work.
You haven't finished paying your rent. And look at the number of fishes swimming in your soup.
Hey, landlord.
Lamle, I had a really hectic day. The car left me on the road today too.
Akwesi, I can't stand all the embarrassment from the landlord.
Are you a salaried worker? Do you need a fast loan to pay your bills? Do you need a loan to complete your housing project? Or do you need a loan for any other business? Look no further. With Blue Financial Services term loans, you can secure a loan with a flexible payment plan at a competitive rate. Simply dial 0303-968-196 or locate us at Osu near the MTN office and Allied Oil filling station. Blue Financial Services term loan, a loan with the flexible payment plan.
The soccer feeling and win big with a NASCO Soccer Fever promotion with so much more excitement on our reduced prices and gifts. From as low as 449 Ghana cedis, you are assured of watching all the live action, the goals, and the tackles on NASCO TVs. Soccer your eyes away with our 43-inch TV at 1,299 Ghana cedis and get a free phone. You can also win a smartphone and a free Bluetooth speaker when you buy any 55 to 65-inch TV. Starting from 699 Ghana cedis, you get a double-door fridge with a free blender and a free kettle when you buy our chest freezer. Ish! NASCO Soccer Fever be a day. Visit any of our showrooms or authorized resellers now. It's the NASCO Soccer Fever promotion. NASCO, bring home happiness.
Promo Some way there, I had some you use me mumu. If you say MTN Echimachedia at their two table, brand new Samsung 65-inch UHD Smart TV. Now brand new 2019 Hyundai, and I feel 3,000 Ghana there. You should say mono. MTN Momo. Still, Misaka, the journey of 1,000 smiles. Yes, I see 10 years ago. And to celebrate this milestone, MTN give you away exciting prizes in the MTN Momo Attend promo. Yeah, you use Momo, no? You could win one of the 2019 Hyundai i10 cars. Yes, some Samsung Smart TVs for baby. And they up to 3,000 cedis e-cash every month. And a grand prize, 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe in the MTN Momo Attend promo. Into sign it on and then keep using your MTN Momo. Now when it big, if it's happening, I see August every year. Only on Ghana's best network. Dial *120#. Now check your points. Terms and conditions apply. Just Momo it. We're there for you everywhere you go.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
Asampaetia. Obanyansa fuso obunuye wonka na asam. Tema futu sam kakre wa asupeme.
9 minutes past 9 here on the Super Morning Show. Enjoy 99.7 FM. At a time where a nation like Ghana is ranked amongst the countries in the world where open defecation is rife. At a time where we can laugh about a promise to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. The question emerges. Are the solutions beyond us? This is a conversation between you and Justice Shremsai, Kena Likimani, and Dr. Loidama on the phone. As for me, I'm just here to ask questions. My name is Daniel Dazi. Social media messages on the Super Morning Show are brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and Telisol 4G Just a Touch. The Total AFCON is on, and EcoBank and Visa are bringing you loads of excitement this season. Win an all-expense-paid trip to Cairo to watch the game, or give your son or daughter a lifetime opportunity to escort sporting heroes to the pitch. Get your card game on by using your EcoBank Visa card to make payments on POS terminals and online every time, and win. It's that simple. Up your game on payments by using your EcoBank Visa prepaid debit or credit card and stand the chance to go to Egypt. Be among the thousands of participants who will walk away with free DSTV installations, Visa prepaid cards loaded with cash, premium Visa souvenirs, data, and more. Game on this Total AFCON season brought to you by Visa in partnership with EcoBank is supported by DSTV and the Gaming Commission of Ghana. EcoBank is the Pan-African Bank. Telisol offers the fastest internet experience on 4G in the country with coverage in Accra, Tema, Ho, Koforidua, Takoradi, and Bolgatanga. For the youth, there's Telisol Wave bundles designed to cater for youth lifestyle starting from as low as 2 cedis 50 pesos. There's also 4G internet service not only on your phone and handheld devices, but also extended for use in offices and homes. And also, the icing on the cake is Telisol fiber broadband services for homes and offices at affordable rates with varied speeds, unlimited and bundled data options. If you live at Airport Residential, Laboni, Rich, Cantonments, Jolu and other locations, call Telisol to find out about your area and service availability on 0303 975 342 or 344, or send us an email on inquiry@telisol4g.com. Telisol Just a Touch. Now, Afrodan is offering you today the most comfortable chair in the world, the Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. It has over 10 thoughtfully engineered features customized for your health and comfort. So go to Afrodan on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade and feel this chair. You'll be amazed. Call us on 0302 663 085. It's 12 minutes past 9 exactly. Justice Shremsai begins the next leg of the discussion for us. Justice, you were very concerned about our security and our national and our criminal justice delivery system. We'll have to go with one for today.
Let me go for security because that it has become the most disturbing situation now for sanitation and others. We've been with them for some time, but now I think we have reached a point where even survival has become a challenge in terms of what can happen to a person. And I need to make this point clearly and without much reservation. I think the people who are currently managing our finances and economic situation are destroying this country. They are destroying this country in a way that perhaps they themselves have not even realized. Usually when we talk of security, we talk of, they tell us we have deployed policemen, 10,000 policemen in uniform and those that are not in uniform, and they have guns and all that. But that is a very, let me say, with all due respect, quite myopic view of what security should be. You see, people don't commit crimes because they are inherently, evil. Societal conditions, particularly the economic ones, force people to be criminals. And the research on this is not even really in dispute.
Okay.
If you have a system where companies are regularly being collapsed abruptly, not that it takes about, you are there and the Minister of Finance or Bank of Ghana comes out with a list of about 300 companies that are supposed to shut down over the weekend. So from Monday, these 300 companies are not supposed to be working. Let's assume that each of these companies employ even 10 people. 10 times, 300, that is 3,000. If each of these employees have 2 dependents, that is 6,000. Where do they get their next meal? And we are not even talking of an economic system that gives you enough to save for the future. So from Monday, how is a young man supposed to feed himself and the family? You see, sometimes someone will make you think that there are no policy options to solving these issues. If there's a problem, there are options, that there are solutions, options that we can choose from. But if you choose an option which has the ultimate effect of creating hardship, and we are not talking of one or two, like mass hardship, massive unemployment, then what you are doing is you are endangering the whole society, and that is where security comes in. And those who drafted our securities and intelligence laws are very much aware of this. Do you know the composition of the National Security Council? Apart from all the military officers and the top commanders that we have, we also have the finance minister there. We have the minister for all this, because they understand that you cannot secure the security of a people without taking care of their economic conditions. So if you tell me that Ghana is unsafe, so we need to get more policemen, then we have some national, what do we call it? These SWAT unit guys going to arrest kidnappers and all that. And you forget that a few months ago, thousands of people were made unemployed with no prospect of getting jobs or livelihood. Then you are missing the point. Completely. And I think that we should broaden our understanding of economic management beyond the figures that we always tout ourselves and the GDP and the GDP. Look, GDP, serious countries don't talk about GDP. They don't talk about GDP because GDP is simply an addition of all what has been produced in the country. It doesn't tell you how much goes to Daniel, how much goes to Kenya. So we can produce 10 million and 2 people will have all that. So if you say you have gotten this GDP, and in this case, ours is even pathetic because our GDPs end up going out of the country anyway. So you can't even get them here. So we should get a bit more human in our economic, policies and analysis. And until we do that, look, the security conditions are not going to improve because you have deployed policemen or you have SWAT going here and there. It's going to improve when people see that, look, there's prospect. To be a criminal, I've never been a criminal before, but I think to be a criminal is not a joke. It's a very risky job. To carry guns with the hope that no one will shoot for someone to get to that point, and for a number of people to get to that point, it means that it's a point of desperation. When you follow the kidnapping stories carefully, we are told that foreigners, and I won't mention any particular country, but we are told that foreigners come and try to recruit people from our communities. Which communities do they go to? They don't go to East Legon. They don't go to Trasaco. They go to Nima. They go to where? Ashaman. Do you know why? Because that is where poverty is. And when they go there, they try to recruit people who are even within Nima, who are desperate, who look desperate, who are hungry. Those are the people, and they make promises, prospects to them. That should tell you one thing, that a crime survives in an economic system where there is inequality, when there is hardship. Do you get the point?
So for you, the security problem is an unemployment, it's an economic problem.
It is a serious economic issue.
So it's interesting because a national security report in 2006 is actually what informed governments to form the National Youth Employment Program, which became GIDA, which became the YEA. And in this sense, okay, I need to bring in Dr. Loidamo on this. Doc, if you are there with us, this is the little bombshell that Justice has thrown into the entire discussion. Do you agree with Justice? And in answering that, let me know, doesn't it come back to the management of leadership and how people hold them accountable? Because we were solving the problem with NYEP, but we all know what the GIDA story became.
Well, he has a point about the nature of our economic thought and indeed the nature of economic management. But the deeper question then becomes, on the level of the economy, the kind of ideational frameworks that we are using. And we need to begin a deep conversation on that. I mean, GDP figures, are they the only mode of making sense of the economy? Indeed, in the literature, questions are being raised about this issue. But of course, on the point about, laying off people, well, these things cannot, in some instances, be completely taken out of the equation. There was a problem with the financial sector. Some actions needed to be taken. And people would definitely face the brunt of the policy. So these things would happen, But the point is that if we had an economy that was buoyant enough and was, as expanded as possible the way we wanted, we had welfare schemes and the rest of them. Then when these things happen, we could more or less, if you like,
protect the persons who are affected.
Yes, things could be smoothing out. We can't use the economic argument. We can't stretch it, beyond a certain point and say, look, because people are going to be affected, when there's some action we need to take, we can't take it. Like Galamsey, and we should watch that argument. But it's a useful one, and it speaks to the broader question of the kind of society we want and the kind of economy we want to run, and the basis upon which we make sense of that particular economy, what it's meant by growth and prosperity and all of that. So yes, and there was something else that you raised which has escaped my mind.
Yes, what I was asking was that since we are talking about fixes for issues that are facing Ghanaians, and this may be an economic issue, is it not the case then that we have watched leaders, make minced meat of solutions that are supposed to work? I'm using NYEP, GIDA, YEA as an example.
Yes, the question of leadership and these questions.
Yes.
It comes back to that degree of skill and empathy and taking much more seriously this notion of leadership. We had GIDA and obviously those who held power, dropped the ball on this, and then we have had to retool it and reconstruct it. Now we have NAPCO. But ultimately, it comes back to, the extent to which those who hold power consider the duties imposed on them as being important. And also, I think Kina raised that, the extent to which all of us are determined to hold those who hold power accountable, And that takes me to the question of some of the issues that I think in many ways shoot through some of these questions. The party system that we run, what kind of parties, political parties we have. I think that increasingly they become cloistered, clannish, and insular. And there's much more focus on political calculations than the national interest, and given that, if you look at DIDA, for example, you read the reports. Somebody was put in there who had no knowledge about accounting and financial issues, and he was the guy more or less taking decisions on that. And when you trace, you see it's a question of patronage, it's clientelistic, and all of that. So the infrastructure of power that we have, and the institutions that underpin that, we need to begin to find some kind of responses to that. And I've come to this conclusion that, we are having a conspectus of complexity in terms of where we want to go and how we want to get there.
Okay.
1979 was a joke. I was growing up then. It was a joke where you had former military leaders tied to the stick and shot, and general mayhem in society. And I think somehow that woke us up, and we decided that political stability mattered, and then we had the journey to 1992. So now we have some political stability. Probably we need another job in terms of what is the essence of this system that we have put in place.
What kind
in terms of problem solving, beyond just the normative questions of you have elections tick, you have an electoral commission tick, you have a constitution tick. The problem solving aspect we have not taken a hard look at, and probably another jolt is on the way. That probably might send us to that point where we begin to understand that we need to solve everyday problems and long-term ones as well as we make our journey going forward.
So if I am to understand the points you are bringing up, it comes back to our talking more about the problem than actually solving them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I want to bring Kinada's comments because we were talking about that during the break. And if you look at what Justice said about how it comes down to the economic system, even though Lloyd disagrees, Dr. Amon disagrees, it comes really back to what he's saying as to we should be looking at solving problems more. So what are the solutions if we want to look at an economic system that breeds insecurity, for instance? What
right
are the
now,
solutions?
my only solution, and please don't ask me the path to which we achieve the solution. My only solution is that we need to confront the political party system that is only interested in resource grab. If I ask myself, why is Ghana constituted now? What is Ghana about? So Ghana, I'm going to be cynical, but I'm going to say some truths. Ghana has a good reputation, so every now and then our president goes out and enjoys good reception around the world. Occasionally the Black Stars play some soccer. A lot of men have side chicks, but what is happening in Ghana is that we are all constituted in Ghana right now so that people can loot Ghana. If you loot Ghana, the people will suffer. So this is how you loot Ghana. You maintain some peace and stability. I'm not advocating for war, no. But right now, our peace serves so that people have the space to loot. Our elections are so that people have the space to loot. All the issues you talk about come down to looting, procurement fraud. If you look at the programs that government runs, for instance, just last time they said they were changing the uniforms. I didn't like the previous uniforms, right? So I'm thinking, nice uniforms are going to come. No, horrible uniforms. No competition, procurement fraud. The cover brochure of the Ghana Beyond Aid, somebody got paid to put my father's country, Kenya, on the page. Procurement fraud. Hospitals not being able to save lives. Corruption and procurement fraud. If we can sit here for 20 years and we can all, Ghanaians we are well aware, we can talk about all the systems, all the solutions. If we do not confront this resource grabbing, corrupt political party system and all their, what is the word? Their surrogates.
I was going to say encomiums.
All their surrogates and the looting. Do you realize that Ghana government being the singular, it conducts the most business in Ghana. Yeah. It's not a beneficial of any discount. because people are overpricing so that they have to pay the people who are the government. I'm not an economist though, but I believe that part of Ghana's inflation is the high cost of doing corrupt government business, and it is across board. So this is our problem as to how we do it. No,
no, but you see,
but this is where we can go round and round and round. Our level of insecurity is meant to keep us at a certain level so people can loot.
Okay, you know what? So Kina has confessed that Ondru Hoyet, and I want to see. I want to see if I can give Justice and Dr. Ma the opportunity to take us there.
Let me cut in, please. When this 300 microfinance thing, which and I was thinking to myself, the Bank of Ghana, one of our most esteemed institutions, and they all wear suits to work, and they live in they have nice cars, and they are very well educated. Overnight, 300 microfinance. Where were you working? How were you working the past years? Did you also notice that the governor or somebody close to the governor's office said that they were going to clean up the microfinance sector, because right now cleaning up the actual banking sector the bigger banks was going to cost more money? Is it not their people? When the governor of the Bank of Ghana has events, who is sitting at the table with him? Are they not the top bankers in this country? So you go after the microfinance. I'm not saying don't do. Are we paying attention? Are we paying attention?
Well, we understand the savings and loan sectors are going to be moved on very soon. But that's point about the 7.1 billion that it will take to clean up the savings and loan sector is fact.
All of a sudden, the banks now, we've been privy to some really amazing corruption in banks. The money laundering the banks and the bankers are enabling among their cronies, all of a sudden, that's not something we need to really clean up here in Ghana. Microfinance, for now, who are also doing these things. No.
But you see, Justice, won't we be misfiring if we say that, systems should work, but on the other hand, if something like a banking sector cleanup, which is a system working now, we could say late, but it's working now. If something like that is happening, shouldn't we allow the system to work?
You know why? First, we started talking about leadership. Then we confronted a specific problem, economics and then security. Then now we are saying system. Do you know why leadership matters in all these issues? It's because the leader has options of policies or policy options to choose from. If the leader decides to choose a policy which protects his people, economic class, and then deploys the hardship onto the masses, then you realize that there is a problem. That is where I kind of did not get Dr. Amoy's point clearly. It's not as if there's only one policy solution to any problem. There are many options.
Okay.
We have seen the havoc that the banking system has caused. At least we have some names that we can point to that, look, these are the people who are in a way responsible for this and this. Nothing has happened to such people. They live in Trasaco. They still drive their cars. The person who has 200 Ghana cedis in the microfinance, the person who is running a tabletop shop, and the person who is working and salary is about maybe 500 Ghana cedis or 1,000 cedis in the microfinance, and their dependents, they are the ones going to suffer. They are the ones being punished. You see, so we have the criminal justice system, which is not punishing heavy crime, but we have an economic system which is punishing, the people at the bottom. And that is where we say that, look, if you are in charge of an economy and you have options and you decide to choose one that will punish the masses and save, your cronies and your friends, then there is a problem. And until we are able to face these things, and that's what I mean by, look, when we have values should not be something that we hide and talk about. Maybe how many microfinance do you need to make up a bank? So by dealing with one bank's problem, you have probably solved several problems that dealing with the microfinance.
Okay.
So I think the policy options are there, and if you speak with people who are into finance, they will tell you that this option is inimical, and we don't. But
what were the options available?
We don't have the time to go and analyze those options here. But maybe on another day, when the opportunity comes.
If we take it on its own, maybe
the options available to them were available to them all the other 365 to 1,000 days before one day they got up and said 300.
Exactly.
Okay, you know what? It's very, very unfortunate. I hate to do this at this point in the discussion, but what we did with Dr. Lloyd Amwa, with Kina Lekimani and Justice Shremsai was to take a look at our nation and have a conversation about what we think is wrong and what we think must be fixed. Now, we have come to the conclusion, we've had a very long conversation, but we've come to the conclusion that it comes down to how citizens hold leaders accountable for what they do. And if we don't think differently about demanding that the right thing is done by us as citizens, we are going to be talking about this for the next 62 years, as we have for the past 62 years. My name is Daniel Daz. It's 27 minutes to the top of the hour. I'll read a few of your messages and then we'll move on to other very, very interesting discussions here on your Super Morning Show. But I can't continue without thanking Kina Lekimani pouring some liquid fire into our studio this morning, and Justice Shremsai you tried hard to try and balance out Kina. It didn't work. And Dr. Lloyd Amwa joined us on the phone. Good morning, Doc. Thanks for joining us. My name is Daniel Dazi. All I do is ask questions. WebMD on Facebook says, have I ever worked as a junior doctor in a tertiary hospital in Ghana, Department of Pediatrics? Some of us, the doctors, petitioned the CEO because the babies on oxygen supply and in the incubators were dying due to erratic power cuts, and we were asking for a stable power supply to the NICU, that's a neonatal intensive care unit. Guess what? The CEO said it was because of this problem that he was organizing a 3-day prayer session for the hospital. I'm opening the phone lines. Okay, great. Daniel, if one state agency conducts an investigation and hands over a dossier to another state agency, which in turn denies receiving the dossier, then where are we going? Ransford in Adabraka? We are definitely not going to Adabraka. I can tell you that for free. We will take these important messages. When we come back, we'll open the phone lines. 0302-216-541, 0244-340-437. We'll be back.
Charlie, so it's actually raining and we can't hear any sound. As for this, your house, when it's raining, no sound. When the sun is up, the interior is cool. What roof are you using?
They use Ico Roofing Shingles from Interface Limited. Long lasting and beautiful.
Ico Roofing Shingles. We all for move to Interface and get this Ico Roofing Shingles.
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274-999999 or visit our website at www.interfacelimited.com.
The National Service Scheme has begun processing prospective national service personnel for deployment to various sectors across the country. The scheme invites MMDAs, ministries, departments and agencies, educational institutions, hospital and private corporate organizations to put in a formal request to the Secretariat. User agencies can also log on to the NSS website www.nss.gov.gh to submit requests for personnel. User agencies with special needs are advised to contact the NSS Secretariat for discussions on their requests. All requests must reach the headquarters of the National Service Scheme before the 14th of June 2019. For more information, please visit www.nss.gov.gh. Let's support our young men and women to make a meaningful contribution to national development in the spirit of love for country and service to humanity. National service, service to the nation.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go.
May the odds be in your favor this soccer season for some cool chop from media. This no be bet and hopo. It be definite win. No kululu. Starting from 1,599 Ghana cedis, buy any media AC and get a free fan. Buy a double door fridge for 749 Ghana cedis. Chill your drinks and keep your food fresh. And in addition, get a free blender. Cooking just got better with just 649 Ghana cedis for a gas cooker and a free toaster plus so much more. My sister, my brother, the odds are definitely in your favor with Media Soccer promo, affordable prices, and so many gifts. Umpeoya, forget BBR. Visit our showrooms and authorized resellers across Ghana.
My brother, my friend. Give me 5. So, family planning is simple like that.
Simple, Gege. It is pure peace of mind. Now my wife and I can plan to have our next child without unnecessary thinking after every, And we are looking and waiting until the last born can walk and even run around before planning for the next child.
We are also saving towards expanding my wife's shop while we wait small for our baby lad.
Of course, it is said that a man does not dive deep
before he takes in a deep breath.
Bumski to family planning. Speak to your health provider today to help you choose the family planning method that best suits you and your partner. With family planning, you can have the number of children you want and when you want them. Good life, live it well. It's an everyday thing. This message is brought to you by the Ghana Health Service, USAID, and partners.
It's our passion, it's our game. Samsung lovers will remain when this football season here. Samsung.
It's football season again, and the Samsung Stadium is packed with so many giveaways. With a sham like goals, buy a 32-inch satellite TV for 949 Ghana cedis, or the 55-inch ultra-high definition for 3,999 Ghana cedis, and get a satellite decoder instantly. Plus other gifts like Bluetooth speakers and even mobile phones. With our Twin Cooling Plus fridge, you win a free microwave, and buying our washing machine gets you a free iron and many other gifts. Take advantage. Score big with the Samsung Soccer Passion promotion. Visit a Samsung store or authorized reseller near you now. Samsung, our passion, our game.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We are on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
20 minutes so we wrap up today's Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. We've been having a conversation, quite the conversation, I hope. I have been personally moved by talking to Justice Remsai, Kinali Kimani, and of course Dr. Lloyd Amwa. Good morning, Daniel. The lady in the studio is so on point, referring to Kina. The politicians have taken this country for granted. Their main interest has always been to amass wealth at our expense. As citizens, we need to rise. Susan from Dodowa there. 0302-216-541. 0302-216-541. 0244-340-437. Isaac from Abokobi is already on the line. Good morning, Isaac.
Good morning, Didi. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
I'm enjoying God's grace.
Be blessed, God. Let's hear you.
Really touched my heart this morning. In fact, this is what I've always been talking about. Because we have given our politicians so much power, and everything in this country, they control it. So they do whatever they want. Now, first thing I want us to do as Ghanaians is to find a way of taking our educational system from the hands of politicians so that it will be autonomous. that politicians cannot control it, then we go to health also. If we are able to take this institution from the hands of politicians, then we can control them. Because now, because they control everything, they come and all they do is to loot, take away what belongs to the country for themselves and their families. Thank you very much, JP.
Thank you very much, Isaac, for calling us. Kweku is on the line from Pokoa. Say good morning, Kweku.
Hi, good morning, Daniel. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
I'm good by God's grace. Daniel, Inima, Mamino she said the truth. That's all Ghana is about. Ghana doesn't have any system running. It's a group of evil politicians, evil politicians that have gathered the country in their pockets and they are running the show. Ghana, there is nothing working here in Ghana. Presently, if you die, if somebody shoots you in Ghana, it's free. Nobody will investigate anything. No, they won't even see the killers. How many of the people who have been killed in this country have been found? How many of the killers have been found and punished and jailed or something? No. You die free. No system is working in this country. Nothing is working. It is just about evil politicking. That's what the politicians are doing. But it's so unfortunate. Where are the men of reason? Where are the middle class? People, in fact, it's my prayer that one day Ghanaians will wake up. They will wake up and take their destiny into their own hands. Because what these people are doing, these politicians, let's forget about it. We need administrators who can manage this country. Because people go to the villages, people are drinking water with animals. And the politician is driving in his and blowing sirens everywhere. Is that the system that we want? No, that's not the Ghana that I want for my children. But Ghanaians, we should wake up. Daniel, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kweku, for calling us from Pokoa. Say, Lukman is on the line. Good morning, Lukman.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Daniel.
Let's hear you.
Thank you very much for giving me opportunity. I think leadership is not about political leaders. Leadership starts from each and every one of us. You know, corruption has been legalized in Ghana to a extent that anybody that you give opportunity will try to mass wealth for themselves. So even those of us who are complaining about the leaders, I tell you, give us opportunity. We will even do more worse than what they are doing. So each and every one of us should change our attitude. We should stop collecting bribes. We should start doing the right things.
Right.
That's where the leadership starts. Otherwise, if majority are doing wrong things, nobody can change us. Majority should do right things, and the few ones that do wrong things should be punished. That's how it's supposed to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lukman. And Kweku is on the line from Dakoman. Good morning, Kweku.
Yes, good morning, Daniel.
Great. Kweku, let's hear you.
Yes, Daniel, I have two things to say. Number one, I would wish that anybody who wishes to stand for any political position here in Ghana, one of the requirements should be that their children of school-going age should attend a public school or any of the public institutions in Ghana. It should be one requirement that if their children are of school-going age, they should attend any public school in Ghana.
Okay.
Number two, I think the media can also play a very good role or positive role in changing Ghana. One, how many Ghanaians, what's the percentage of Ghanaians that are educated as against the ones that are non-educated? Topics such as these, we have minority of Ghanaians listening to it. But most of the morning shows are always about politics, politicians, MPP, NDC. Discussions about electricity is MPP, NDC. Engineering is MPP, NDC. On most of our local radio stations, if they should have programs like this, like even for a month, just to talk about we Ghanaians, I think it will change the mindset of a lot of people. To talk about we Ghanaians, no NDC, no MPP, no politicians. If a topic comes, call ordinary Ghanaians. Let them come and sit and talk for just 1 month and see what will happen in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kweku, for calling us from Dakoman. So that's all we have time for in terms of phone calls. Thank you very much for calling and contributing to this discussion. I want to avert our minds to how we ended our main conversation with Justice Dr. Lloyd and Kina. That in the end, even if we are not getting the kind of leadership that we want, we chose the leadership and we have the power to hold them accountable. So we need to begin to ask ourselves, like Lukman said, are we being leaders ourselves? Are we behaving as people who have the power to actually effect change in our society as we have done in the past? And the big question really, are the solutions beyond our reach? Let's keep the conversation going. In a moment, I speak with my good friend Zahu Ahmed, Vice President Strategy and Partnerships at MIE Groups. The China